Hello and welcome to another PlanetDestiny video. Today we'll be taking a look at Necrochasm. Necrochasm is an exotic auto rifle that is rewarded after a long quest of upgrading a lowly common quality weapon. To get it, you will have to have upgraded your Husk of the Pit to Eidolon ally and venture into Crota on hard mode difficulty. This illustrious auto rifle belongs to the high rate of fire, low impact archetype of weapons. Before we get into the weapon review, let's first talk about the Crux of Crota and how exactly you can obtain it. First off, you need to own the Glowhue shader. You do not need to have it equipped in order for the Crux to drop, but you need to at least own it. It could be on another character, for example. As long as you've gotten it before, it'll be fine. Secondly, you'll need to complete the raid on hard mode first. You can't complete normal and then hard mode. You need to skip the normal difficulty completely. In summary, once per week, have at least one of your characters complete Crota's End hard mode first. Skip normal. Number 2, the character or characters you're completing hard mode with needs to own Glowhue. Although it doesn't need to be equipped, but it can be. Crux of Crota is not a guaranteed drop, but as long as you follow those steps, you'll have a chance to get it. Each of your characters can attempt this each week. Just remember that you must complete only hard mode. Finally, a big thanks to Arso93 for letting us use his account so we could actually get this review out today. Let's get into the good. Necrochasm currently has the highest attack rating in the game at 339. As of writing this review, the highest attack rating normally attainable is 331 on both legendary and other normal exotic weapons. This is keeping with the same theme as Vex Mythoclass, which was the reward for defeating hard mode Atheon in Vault of Glass. The harder to obtain weapons are usually rewarded by having a higher attack than their other exotic siblings. The Mythoclass, like Necrochasm, won't be bumped up to the new max attack rating once House of Wolves is released. Deej said that the Mythoclass shall be frozen in time and will not be upgraded to 331. In the same way, the Necrochasm will most likely be kept at 339 and won't be increased to the new 365 attack when the House of Wolves drops. This auto rifle is in the high rate of fire archetype of weapons. Its rate of fire is completely maxed at 100. For those that like this type of weapon, know that Necrochasm really is the pinnacle of this style of weapon. In addition to its high attack and rate of fire, it also has a deceptively long range. It has a base range of 19, but also has the rangefinder perk, which will increase the range of the weapon when it's aimed by an additional 10%. This is nice because it allows the weapon to grow out of the normal confines of its archetype, letting you engage enemies outside of medium range. While you won't be taking things out from scout rifle range, it is a noticeable improvement from the other high rate of fire auto rifles. The reload of Necrochasm is high at 76. In addition, it can be completely maxed out with the flared magwell perk, although this isn't optimal since fitted stock is just a stronger perk overall. The cascade perk will also allow you to reload even faster after you kill something with a melee. This is nice for situations when enemies are usually getting a little closer to you and you can just melee them real quick, get a quick reload off. The stability is also fairly high. While it only has a base stability of 46, the CQB ballistics perk and fitted stock perk boost the overall stability to 86. This is a great boon to the weapon since this particular archetype requires precision shooting to make the most of the lower impact. Now let's get into the bad section, which is going to be rather lengthy. There are a plethora of issues with the weapon that simply make it underwhelming for the time invested into getting it. Starting off, it has an extremely low impact of 2. This leads to level 30 tier 1 enemies only taking 72 body shot damage and 180 precision damage. It'll end up taking about 1/4 of your magazine to down a tier 1 enemy. For tier 2 enemies, you'll be doing 72 body damage and 90 precision. In other words, it's going to take a magazine plus some change to actually down a tier 2 enemy with this gun. In PvP, you'll be doing about 11 to the body and 13 to the head. It's almost worth it just to spray someone's body down since it takes 15 precision shots to down someone as opposed to the 18 shots to the body. Of course, all of this damage that I just told you is with the CQB ballistics perk, which is the optimal perk since you need stability with this weapon. While the low impact is completely normal for this archetype of weapon, it's exacerbated by the low magazine size of 42. Typically, high rate of fire weapons will have larger magazines of 60 plus to accommodate the bullet hose nature of using them. Unfortunately, the low magazine size with the high rate of fire just means that you're going to be reloading half the time you use the weapon. Necrochasm just has a pitifully low magazine size in comparison to the other weapons in the same archetype. In PvP, this means you will usually get 2 kills with a magazine, assuming your aim is rock steady, and you don't miss any shots. While snipers have the adage of 1 shot, 1 kill, Necrochasm users can have a similar one of 1 mag, 1 kill. Maybe. The Cursebringer perk is supposed to be the crowning feature of Necrochasm as well. In practice though, it's just a worse Firefly perk. Due to the high rate of fire and low impact, it's difficult to actually land the precision shots necessary to get this perk to proc. Even if you do, it's not a guaranteed explosion, as it only occurs about 75% of the time. In addition to all this, it appears to be bugged, similar to the old Firefly perk, where it would take an extra second for the explosion to actually occur. The damage radius also feels a little bit smaller than the typical Firefly perk. Fortunately though, the explosion damage does not damage you. Okay, let's take a look at some of the perks of Necrochasm. Starting off here, we actually have Cascade. Melee kills increase the reload speed of this weapon for a short time. This is actually pretty handy because the magazine size of 42 is just abysmally low. So when you're in those circumstances where there's a lot of enemies around you, you can easily melee one, kill it, and then get a quick reload off. It does increase the reload by a substantial amount. Also, it does arc damage. Okay, starting off we have Accurized Ballistics. More range and impact, increased recoil. Personally, not a fan of this one at all. The recoil is just all over the place. Even though it does help the impact and range some, it's just not worth it at all. So really, you're going to want to go for this right off the bat. CQB Ballistics. Greatly reduced recoil, significant penalty to range. Fortunately, this does have the rangefinder buff, so the range hit isn't too bad. What you're really looking for here is to increase the stability as much as possible. These high rate of fire, low impact auto rifles are just too difficult to use, mainly because of the recoil, so anything you can do to increase that is going to be really the best course of action. Here we have Aggressive Ballistics, more predictable recoil, enhanced impact, shorter range, and more recoil. This one might be useful to some people. It does increase the damage, but not by a huge margin. The stability, it's not amazing, but it does increase the stability just a hair. It does increase the impact as well. Personally, this one, while it is better for doing more damage, you're not going to be able to land consistent precision shots, which is what you need to do to maximize the damage from this. CQB Ballistics is really the only way to go on this weapon. However, if you are a seasoned user of this archetype of weapons, you might try Aggressive Ballistics. You might be able to work with it. Then we have Cursebringer. Precision kills with this weapon frequently trigger a Curse Thrall explosion. This is actually just really similar to the old Firefly perk. It's basically just a cosmetically changed Firefly. If you kill something with precision shot, it'll explode. It does have a delayed explosion on it, and it's about maybe 50 or 75% of the time it'll actually trigger. It's not going to be that useful in PvP. I got it to work maybe once, and I don't think I actually got a kill with it. But in PvE, it is kind of nice for if there's a lot of, mobs kind of grouped up together. If you can actually land a headshot on one and kill it with that headshot, then hey, it'll do a substantial amount of damage. Now this tree is really bad. First off, we have single point sling. Switch weapons faster, move quicker while aiming. This is a great perk. I love it on a few different weapons. The main problem here is that this weapon, while it would be nice to switch weapons faster all the time and move quicker while aiming, the other perks in this tree just so greatly outweigh it that this one is just not a factor at all. Here we have Flared Magwell. Reload this weapon even faster. Honestly, this is the one that I would pick. Because the magazine only has 42 rounds, you're reloading this thing constantly. Basically, Necrochasm is kind of a one magazine, one kill weapon. In PvP, good luck getting 2 kills with this. I will commend you if you can do that. I think I got it maybe once out of all the playtesting I did with this thing. In PvE, yeah, you'll get maybe 2 or 3 kills. You're just reloading constantly and constantly. And you really need all the help you can get. So hopefully if you can do Flared Magwell plus Cascade, then hey, you're going to be reloading really quick. Unfortunately, due to this archetype of weapons, you want to increase the stability as much as possible. So fitted stock is the only way to go in this tree. Maximizing the stability means you're actually going to be able to hit your target, do damage, and actually have a successful time playing the game. So really, this entire tree here, to sum it up, fitted stock. There you go. Here we have the rangefinder perk. Aiming this weapon increases its effective range. This is one of the few perks that's actually really good on the weapon, mainly because the range is so abysmal it needs as much help as you can get, and you end up hurting yourself by getting CQB ballistics, which decreases the range even further. So really, rangefinder is really the only saving grace on this weapon, otherwise it would be a very close range, just bad weapon to use. Cosmetic wise, if you've used the Husk of the Pit, or Eidolon Ally, or Murmur, then you've seen Necrochasm. The only visual upgrade to it is the glowing green fire coming out from beneath the weapon's barrel. It still sounds the same as its unupgraded versions, and the sights are the same as well. The time invested into getting Necrochasm really is staggering once you think about it. You have to first find Husk of the Pit, and then level it up by killing around 500 Hive. Not too hard, right? But from there you have to wait until you're rank 3 with Eris Morn, and buy the Embalming Orb to upgrade it into Eidolon Ally. After that, you have to invest the normal amount of time to level up a legendary weapon, putting in all the shards, glimmer, and materials. Finally, you have to kill Crota on hard mode multiple times, and then hope it drops for you. In the end, you're rewarded with a weapon that is basically the best of its archetype, but sadly, that archetype is probably the worst in Destiny. As of this review, Necrochasm simply is not worth the time investment required to get it. Don't bother with the struggle of getting it unless you're just a die-hard collector or an avid user of high rate of fire auto rifles. Truthfully, I'd be shocked if it wasn't buffed in the future, with hopefully a magazine size boost. I hope you found this review helpful. This has been Patrick Casey with Planet Destiny, your guide to the Destiny universe.